Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Hebraic Awakening. I'm doing another chit chat style video of, we're just going to chat it up sometimes. You know, I'm hoping that I can begin to post more. I probably say that all the time, don't I? But the winter season for me is always tough, battling winter depression. And it was going good, right? November, December was good. January, I started feeling, but February, I have really been feeling. Mm-mm. And I told my husband last night, I said, I know, I may not act like it, but it is because I'm really working on my mental health. I'm making myself get up and do what I need to do, but there is more that I want to do, right? And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I need to do it, but my body and my emotions, it's so hard. And I understand people who battle with severe depression because it literally feels like a weight, that comes on you. And even though you may want to do, you just physically can't do. Now, I'm not at that point, but there's a lot of things that I want to do. There's a lot of things that I'm realizing that I love to do, and I'm just not motivated. And so when I start feeling that, I know something's wrong. Like, there's certain things that I love to do, and I just don't feel like doing it. I don't have a desire to do it. That don't make any sense. And I was like, suffering from the winter blues or depression. So I'll be glad when spring comes because that is when I really thrive. But this year, it's it's going right. There's so many elders transitioning, and I said that in 2024 during the winter season, or the season of the witch, where we experience these high celebrations from the world. On the outside, everything looks okay. But during that season, there are a lot of deaths, there are a lot of suicides, right? There's a lot going on if you have not been watching, and our elders are transitioning and so on. So, inside of that season, we also have Hanukkah, we also have the Feast of Purim coming up. And those are seasons where we are fighting for our lives, literally. And so I know this, mentally, and that is why I choose to get up and fight because I already know spiritually, you're under attack. You got goals. You're resetting yourself. It's winter time. You are slowing down just a bit. You are making plans because in the spring you're going to take off running. You're making plans for your career because the Gregorian New Year has started. So you're setting goals, you're recalibrating, yourself during this time. But that spirit of depression comes on to try to take you down. So, I take supplements as well. Okay, we'll talk about that on our women's podcast. I hope that you have been tuning in. A part of our Hebraic identity is identifying all the things in our lives that we must repent of and get right, make it right, turn back to Yah, and not just turn back to Him by reading our word and going to Shabbat and going to the feast days. It's actually about repenting about how you think, how you make decisions, repenting of your personality, your attitudes, repenting of financial bad decisions that we make inside of our community. Just repenting and changing your behavior, changing the way you think, changing the way you make decisions, and that takes you back to Yah. So we are starting with our young people, our young ladies, and we're sticking with women topics because we're women. But fun fact, I'm gonna have some men come on and share, throughout our discussions, why it's important for men to sit in on the discussion and listen and learn and even give insight, when it's time to give insight. So I encourage all the men to sit in because you have a mom, auntie, grandmama, daughters, nieces, you have women in your life that you need to understand. And part of the problem in our community is that we have lost understanding one another. The homes are broken and we are trying to repair the breach, right? That's a part of our Hebraic awakening. Waking up, seeing the chaos, repenting, healing, and repairing those breaches. So we want to repair the breach of our broken homes. And it's going to take the whole community, all right, to come together and to make that happen. Man, Hebraic awakening is about awakening to your whole self. It's not just about sitting up watching a lot of videos debating or where is the promised land and we leaving and all of that, the end times. It's about your whole life, the soul. If you haven't checked out my Soul Ties video on Patreon, you need to do so because we need to understand the difference between a soul, and these soul ties, and trauma and all of that. And so we break things down Hebraically so that we can get a good understanding. So once we find out what a soul is, you begin to understand that your whole soul needs to be repaired. Your whole life, the whole essence of who you are. That's a part of repenting, repairing your whole life, your whole soul. And so we are repairing the breach by having these discussions that will lead to restoration and healing. We going for it, okay? So if you missed our last two podcast, please like and subscribe. Go to the Righteous View because we're going to start posting on there mostly once we get the momentum going. I probably will just put snippets on Hebraic Awakening, but we really want to drive that content to the Righteous View. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and like and subscribe this video. I know I never say it on this channel, and it is because this is me. Again, if you don't know my testimony, I have that testimony, years ago where I started this channel for my grandchildren. I wanted them to see me. I wanted them to see how I teach, to see my growth in my walk in Torah, and for them to have like a visual diary of their grandma in action, and for my children too. Like, I know my children, they in their 30s and 20s, and you know they're a little they're a little selfish during this age. They ain't worried about mom and dad like that. But as they get older and they go back and see my husband and I on certain videos, and they see, how we flow, how I flow, they can look back and be like, man, I got that from my mama, I got that from my daddy. And they can look at the little bit of wisdom that I have gained over the years concerning Torah. And remember, Torah is not just laws, it's a set of instructions for life. So they get to glean insight for how to live life so that they can raise their children, right? In Torah, and understand the spiritual side of Torah, where there's a Torah for each of us. There's the Torah, the written Torah, and then there's your own personal Torah. What is the Most High saying to you personally? Okay, there's a set of instructions that He's going to give you that He is not going to give me, right? It's personal Torah. So I want my children and my grandchildren to see me, on video with a visual diary, so to speak. So this is why I started this channel, and it has grown. But I don't really say like and subscribe because, again, it's really for my grandchildren and those that want to join in and help build community. I'm with that as well. So don't forget to join me on Patreon. I know I've been slow, but the winter, that February has gotten me. And I'm like, you got to get up, you got to you got to post, you got to build. And I'm still doing mental wellness, you know. um we slowed down with the food pantry, but we still are feeding people. It just has turned to the children, right? It's turned to the fatherless children, the children at the school. So I do a lot for them, but we still are feeding people. We're partnering with people with some up and coming things in the summertime. So I'm still doing a lot. I do my homeschool hub where right now we have a STEM class that's going, and I'm really trying to pump myself up to do feast day classes for the children. I don't know what my problem is. That's why I said it got to be depression, because I love doing stuff like that, arts and crafts with the children, the games. But lately, I have been feeling so unmotivated. So I'm going to have to force myself to do these things to break out of that depression. So I'm moving and I'm still doing, but there's a lot that I want to do. There's a whole lot that I want to do. So, I can see me growing still with the Women's Podcast, with our lovely hosts, Ravis Avaya and Prophetess Deborah, and we're trying to get one more on there. And we're gonna have professional guests come on. And remember, this is a part of your Hebraic awakening not only to who you are as a quote unquote Israelite, but awakening the whole man and woman, right? And that brings me to the topic that I really wanted to talk about is the rites of passage. Inside of that adolescence discussion, we hit on the rite of passage. And that is something that we are going to put together real soon. I want to have it up and going before Pesach, right? And one question came up, well, what about the adults? And that has happened in another session that I sat in where I brought this up. Adults are interested in their rite of passage. And I say this, that is a part of repairing the breach. That is a part of repentance, seeing where you have dropped the ball, taking the time to sit down and discern, right? And letting the Most High speak to you on what you can do, right, to repair the breach. And so the rite of passage, bar and bat mitzvah, is something that we are going to do. Now, I know a lot of people is going in about languages and stuff. I don't play that, right? I don't play that. Not as a teacher, okay? Not as a teacher. I don't play that. And, if you don't want to call it a bar or bat mitzvah because you're still not healed in that area because it sounds Jewish, even though it's not, um, we call it a rite of passage, right? So you'll hear me say rite of passage, bar, or bat mitzvah, son or daughter of the command or the commandments. Come on. Like this is Hebrew, and it's modern Hebrew, but it still is the same meaning. Okay, you can't change the meaning. Okay, I keep saying that languages evolve, culture evolves, but the set of instructions remain the same. It is everlasting. But your little culture, your little language, and the way you dress and the way you do your hair, okay, that changes. What food you eat, it changes. Now we know the set of instructions saying no pork. We only supposed to be eating ruminating animals, not just pork, but ruminating animals. That's what we're supposed to be eating. Look, the birds is agreeing with me. That's right. We're supposed to be eating ruminating animals. So, okay, we know that. But the way we are going to eat over time is also going to evolve. All right. So we're going to have a rite of passage, a bar, or bat mitzvah. If you want to join us, I want you to email us at the Righteous View, because we're going to have a group of elders season where on this particular committee is people who have raised their children and are raising their grandchildren in Torah. People who have the fruit. Because I've said this in previous discussions that the way that we are presenting our faith to our children, they are going to run as soon as they turn 18. Okay, they're gonna run, and sometimes they will run right into another cult because the way we have been raising them, they're not gonna run into a personal relationship with the Most High, the Messiah. They are gonna run into another cult because of the way that we are doing in this Hebraic walk. And we don't want that, right? So we want to have seasoned elders who have the fruit to be able to tell you from a balanced point of view. So we are coming with, what type of person that you want to be. That involves your character, your identity. We'll have, one of the elders sit down with the candidate for the rite of passage, whether it's an adult already or whether it's a child. What type of person that you want to show up to the world to be? Because your light got to shine. Your character, your integrity. We're going to do finances, teaching us about finances, whoever the candidate is, child, 12, 13, they're going to learn finances. We're even going to pull in um, some of our young adults who have businesses and they are successful and they walking in Torah. We're going to pull them in. Let's see, mental health. We're going to make sure that we're mentally and emotionally healthy. Sex. We're going to make sure that we have an elder who sit down and to talk about sex, right? And how we should keep our bodies and how we are gifts and prizes and we're delicate and we're just special, in that way. Plus, with the Bible, okay, with the Torah set of instructions. And speaking of that, they're going to have their own Torah portion that I believe is so important that they study and that they present at their actual celebration. So at the end of us sitting down for several months, we are going to have, or that mom and dad or family is going to have their ceremony for the rite of passage. Hopefully, those of us on the committee can be a part of it. I mean, I'm just thinking big. I'm thinking about the committee sending our candidate a tallit with their name on it, or a set of not fringes, because I do not like that word, a set of zits um, for the young men, or maybe a Torah scroll, and not the real Torah scroll, but a duplicate. And maybe we could put it in a box with their name on it. So we are taking donations for that, and I think that class, even though it is coming from us, I think that's going to go through T's tutorial, that rite of passage, um, kind of session. You're going to go through my T's tutorial homeschool hub because I'm probably going to give homework and stuff because that's just that's just how I am. And you sit down with the elders in the group over several months and you discuss and you prepare yourself for the rite of passage. So moms and dads, be on the lookout for that through T's tutorial, right? And then we're gonna connect it to the righteous view. My mind is how my mind works is everything that I do works together, right? It's not separate, right? Everything that I do has to work together. That's why some people say you doing a lot. It seems like I'm doing a lot, but it's all together. The food pantry, taking care of the widows and the orphans, all of that goes together with teaching Torah, that goes together. So the Hebraic awakening goes with that. Teach tutorium, that goes together. Educating our children, giving out activities, games, homeschool co-op coming really soon. That goes together. The mental wellness goes with everything. Emotional intelligence, that goes with everything. And we want to have a class for our children and adults. That's another thing. Adults is like, I need to learn how to, emotionally regulate. So we're going to have an emotional regulation class for the children and for the adults. That's going to be on T's tutorial. You see how everything flows. The women's podcast, that's about waking up, repairing the breach, repentance, that goes hand in hand with Torah. Like everything goes hand in hand. And that is how my brain works. When I'm doing something, it goes hand in hand with what I'm already doing. So I'm not doing 50,000, separate things. They all go together, right? So it seems like I'm doing a lot, but really it's like one vision broken up, right? And I talked about that with Yaakov having 12 sons. He had one vision and he broke it up into 12 pieces. And each child had a piece of the vision. So that's how my mind works, if y'all want to know. Maybe y'all don't, but I told you anyway. All right, so that is what I really wanted to come on here and talk about. Check us out. Be ready for the rite of passage. If you want to join, comment, down below and let me know. I want to join. I want to join. I'm going to put the email and stuff um, in the comment section, so that I can show the committee. We already have people, right, who are willing to go through it. So we're not wasting our time. So if you really want the rite of passage for your son, your daughter, or for yourself, please leave your comment, okay? Leave your comment so I can take it to the committee and show them. All right. Until the next video, shalom, everyone.